Happy week to you, Kelly Trask along for Southern Indiana Now. So excited about our special guests we have lined up for you for this special episode. All episodes are special. That's what we think because we have some great information coming your way. We want to make sure you stay connected to everything happening in Southern Indiana. Hoosier Homestead, super important. We want to talk about what life is like in Southern Indiana, which is why we have Jordan Rehart with us this morning. Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning, Kelly. How you doing?
Good. This episode is all about liquid gold.
That's right.
And that can mean a lot of things, right?
Yes, that's right.
And in this case, in this century right now, bourbon is definitely gold. So
bourbon seems pretty hot right now.
It does. It does. Let's talk about that a little bit. Can you give us a background about how the Southern Indiana region impacts the bourbon world and how that's how we play off each other with that?
Yeah. So like in the modern day, I would say places like Hard Truth, a distillery in Nashville, they're a major player really on a national level. People are very excited to get Hard Truth products all across the country when it's introduced to the state. Starlight Distillery, obviously it's the same thing, but really one thing that people probably don't realize is that basically an hour east of Seymour off of US 50 in Lawrenceburg, there's a major distillery called MGP, and they do own a few brands, but the primary source of their business is sourcing whiskey. So if you want to start your own distillery or bourbon label, you can go there and you can buy barrels and do something with it. You know, if you want to continue to age it or finish it or whatever, you could do that, put your own label on it, sell it as your product. The thing with bourbon is, you know, something like beer, you can brew beer and in a few weeks to a couple months, it's done, ready to bottle and drink. It doesn't work that way in bourbon. Bourbon has to have years. Really difficult for distilleries to start right away. So they will go to MGP over in Lawrenceburg, start their label while distilling their own products, waiting for them to come of age. But I'd say about 50% of new labels in the last 10 years probably have used MGP.
Okay. I love it. So if someone was going to take a bourbon trip in Southern Indiana, what would they do?
Well, I really like Hard Truth. They have a Get Lost tour where you can go through their grounds. I can't remember how many acres they have on their property. They've got the restaurant. They've got a live music venue that kind of looks like Red Rocks out in Colorado. That's super cool. But Starlight is always kind of, you know, a really good one as well because that can be a little bit more family oriented. You know, they've got the farm, the petting zoo. You know, in the fall they have their fall festival. They've got the restaurant, they've got wine, they've got, you know, spirits in their farmers market. So that's kind of more of a family trip, you know, if you ask me. So I guess it depends on what you're looking for and where you want to be.
So what flavor notes or characteristics of Southern Indiana?
You know, bourbon's more about, you know, what's in the mash bill or the recipe, the type of grains you use. I don't know that there's any necessarily anything that sticks out as far as particular to Southern Indiana. But we do have really good water here. That kind of sounds funny, but, you know, we got a lot of limestone aquifers, you know, that you know, we get our water from. So that helps. But, you know, with bourbon, you're going to taste caramel.
So I sound super cool if you take a drink of bourbon and say, oh, I'm tasting that limestone essence.
Well, I don't know. Actually, might not be. It's not something that you would necessarily
I'm
taste,
just playing.
right?
Yeah.
But you're going to get, you know, caramel notes. You're going to get, if there's a lot of rye in it, you're going to get, you know, those spicy notes. If there's weed, it's going to be a little bit softer and sweeter.
Hey, you can't have good bourbon without good water.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so we'll stand on that.
I'd say we're probably comparable to Kentucky because bourbon's so much about the climate for which it's aged. So, and obviously being a border state to Kentucky, we're, you know, probably very similar in our climate. So
got it.
Probably a lot of similarities.
All right. So if someone had some more questions about bourbon or wants to know where you can get some things, can they get and reach out and touch with you?
Yeah. So I serve on the board of directors of Seymour Main Street, and my friend Brian Terrell, he's also a board member, and he came up with this event, the Bourbon Pour, which is a blind tasting coming up April 5th. If you want tickets, you can go on SeymourMainStreet.org. But he and I also have a YouTube channel called The Bourbon Pour, and we're always accessible.
Love it.
Yeah. So we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook and Instagram. So we do get people, you know, reaching out, you know, saying, hey, you know, what's your favorite on this or a recommendation. I also hang out at Vic's Liquor Store in Seymour quite a bit with Keith. And, you know, he does a lot of regular tastings there. There's a group of guys who always are chatting. And, you know, at Christmas time, we did a deal where we were all, you know, kind of met up there. And if you wanted a recommendation for a gift, you could stop by and learn about something going on. But
yeah, love it. All right. Well, do stay connected. You can get tickets to that event. And that's Bourbon Pour, going to be happening in Seymour, as you mentioned. You can get tickets. You can go online. We'll be back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're so happy to have Jim Book with us all the way from Starlight, Indiana, Floyd's Knobs, Floyd County. And he's here to talk about of course, one of the favorite, most beloved coffee shops in Southern Indiana, and that's Starlight Coffee. And
Thank
let's
you.
talk about Starlight Coffee Company. I know you started this as a labor of love. How many years ago? Let's hear the story, Jim.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
22 years, almost 23 years in September.
Okay,
I
so-
started this.
Well, I'm happy that you're part of our Hoosier Hustle segment because you've definitely been the epitome of that over the last 20 plus years. And when you started Starlight Coffee Company, how come you picked Southern Indiana, just in general as a region? And what's been special about operating, and how have you grown over the years?
Well,
So a bunch of questions at one time.
Well, I'll just start from the beginning to
Perfect.
where I'm at now. Whenever finished school, started working full time, wanted to do something for myself, to do my own business. And then Southern Indiana, which is where I was born and raised, there was no coffee shop. So, I was in Louisville a lot with work, and it was trending.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I met some local guys there that kind of guided me and helped me. And what I learned about coffee, like making it behind the bar, like the retail side, is the bartending without alcohol. And it's a morning start. So like me working on the farm, I'm used to the mornings. So like it worked with my personality. And then so from there, I started looking into spots, trying to figure out how to do it, talking to the banks, trying to get money, and then finally found a location, and bam.
The
So,
dream was born.
Yeah. Like I tell everyone, I was young, dumb, and broke.
Well, they made a song about that too. So there you go. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So how did Starlight Coffee name, and then how did that happen? And then tell me about how you've progressed in Southern Indiana and what's been kind of the driving factor for you adding new locations.
I started off, under the brand Bean Street. A buddy of mine that graduated with trademarking degrees, like Book or Jim, you need to really look into this. So after about 3 or 4 years of operation under the Bean Street brand, we looked into it and found out like it was the trademark was owned by or copyrighted by a company in the South at gas stations. So I couldn't use that name anymore. And at that time, I was already roasting in Starlight area, or up near my home in Starlight, under the Starlight Roasting Company. So once we realized we could not carry on it under the Bean Street brand, we renamed or rebranded under the Starlight Coffee Company.
Yeah. So tell me about all your locations and walk us through the process of was being in Southern Indiana give itself to culture, and have you be able to foster that?
Well, since that time, I've up to 4 locations: Sellersburg, Floyd Knobs, New Albany, and in Georgetown. I move slow at it. I'm very cautious about it all, but I love it. The community, the Southern Indiana community, is just supportive. It's great. Work together, and it is like for me, I want it to be that little gathering hub where people meet, get their drink, and get the day going.
I've been in multiple locations. I've heard everything from Bible studies to business meetings to college planning to girls' day to baby showers. I mean, you literally host all the connections, and I love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
Do you have a personal favorite roaster blend? So if someone hasn't been there, they're listening or watching, what do they need to try? First trip to Starlight, what do they need to order?
Well, from customers likes the Starlight Latte is probably the most popular, and it's local honey. So it's it's from Starlight Farms, or farms up in Starlight area.
All right.
Of the honey collected. So in that, it's just cinnamon and honey. But with coffee, the roasting side of it, it's like 7 different varietals. Usually, I keep in hand that, and almost every season it has a little. Each varietal can have a little bit different taste. So.
Well, and what's special is you're actually roasting your own beans, and that's unique.
Yeah, we're the only Southern Indiana coffee shop that does our own in-house roasting.
Yeah.
So, and it's fun because I have control with the broker from the farm to to my hands.
I love it. Farm to table. It's all about it. Yeah. Even the honey's local. Okay.
Right.
So if you want that local experience, you definitely need to check out Starlight Coffee Company in Southern Indiana, and they'll get you connected to not only the people, but some great coffee. We'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Super excited to be back here with Sean Busby with Southern Indiana Now. Of course, we're talking all things Crossroads Acoustic Fest. Still time for you to get tickets. I'm talking to the guy that can make all the magic happen for you, telling you all the magic wands about what it's going to be like when you experience the Crossroads Acoustic Music Fest. Of course, this is an event happening in Southern Indiana. Go figure. And of course, we're talking with Sean for Hoosier Happenings, and so excited to have him as part of the show today. So, Sean, let's talk about, well, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me here,
Yes,
Kelly.
and of course, you are the sponsor of the podcast, so we've been mentioning people getting their tickets. So let's talk about what the experience is like. We're going to talk all about the festival today. Tell us when it is and all those good things.
Okay, so yeah, it's the last weekend of April, April 25th and 26th. On Friday, we'll have one room of music, and then on Saturday, we'll have multiple rooms.
So it is a listening room experience,
It's a
right?
listening room experience. All of the rooms are pretty small and intimate, which is what we want. We want people to be up and close, where they can actually hear the songs, hear the stories, look eye to eye almost with the songwriter. I often tell folks if they ever watched, back in the 80s, help me out. There was a TV program on MTV, Unplugged.
Unplugged, yeah.
If they ever watched Unplugged,
You know
it's
what?
a
The first
lot
thing
like
came
that.
to my head was hee-haw. Like, oh my gosh,
It's not like hee-haw.
I was thinking watching with my grandma. I'm like, what are you talking about?
So no, Unplugged.
No,
It's a
Unplugged,
lot
yes,
like
totally
that.
with you, yeah.
And then a lot of folks around here know Bluebird in Valonia, but
Yeah.
there's a famous Bluebird down in Nashville,
Yes,
Tennessee,
there
which is
sure
all
is.
about listening and hearing the songs. If anyone's ever been down there, they know exactly what
Yeah.
we're trying to replicate here in Seymour.
Well, I love it because that listening room gives you that intimate, and you really just get a different type of sound than you do in a big concert venue.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people, they think, they hear the word festival, and they have these visions of being outside in a big field and thousands of people. This is
Yeah.
not at all what it's like. You're
Yeah.
in a smaller room.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're up close with the artist, and it's just a really, I think, a very high quality type of experience.
Well, it gets you doing deep dives into the songs. Tell us about that, how they talk
Yeah.
with, how the artists kind of explain the backgrounds and so forth.
Yeah, they don't necessarily do it with every song, but yeah, you will definitely hear stories behind the songs. You'll kind of get some insight maybe into how songs come together. So yeah, it's a really unique experience, and the stories are in a lot of ways almost as much fun to hear as the songs themselves.
All right, so walk me through. Tell me what a night is like. So I know they're going to come. There's Friday night. There's one listening room. Saturday evening, there's a couple more listening rooms, so you can go experience that.
Yeah.
Your ticket covers all of it. So tell us about how all that works.
So we have a 2-day pass, which I think is the best value because
Yeah.
you get to come both nights. Again, Friday night's going to be our largest room. We'll be able to seat maybe as many as 300 in that large room at the Copper Top. And then on Saturday, we add a couple of additional rooms. So we'll be at Jackson County Visitor Center. We'll be at Knights of Columbus, and possibly a fourth room, depending on how ticket sales go. But yeah, you get a wristband, and then you can move about, and you can kind of create the experience that you want
Yeah.
and see the artist that you most want
It's
to
like
see.
the Mad Lib of music consumption.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So you get to decide what you want. And should people eat ahead of time? One of the
well,
area restaurants?
We'll have food downtown
Okay,
for sure.
you'll have food.
We may
Great.
have some food trucks, but there are lots of great restaurants downtown.
Okay.
I mean, right next door to Copper Top, we've got Schweitzer's, we've got Rails, Brewski's is downtown, Vat and Barrel is downtown. There's just so many good options. I would encourage people to come hungry.
Yeah. All right. So where can they get tickets, Sean?
You get tickets at crossroadsacousticfest.com. If you happen to be in town and you want to swing by Jackson County Visitor Center, they can take care of you there as well. But yeah, the easiest thing is just to hop online. It's a real quick process. And all of the information about the festival, about the artists, it's all on our website. And again, that's crossroadsacousticfest.com.
All right. So one more question. How many artists will be in around the area for this event?
We're going to have over a dozen musicians or
Wow,
artists
okay.
performing. Some of them will perform more than once to give folks a couple chances to try and catch a performance. But yeah, we've got a fantastic lineup this year.
Yeah.
I guess I should mention, for those who don't know, we do have some Indiana artists, of course, even a couple that are right here in Columbus, Seymour area. But a lot of the artists are coming in from all over. We've got several that are based in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got some that are from Georgia. We've got a lot of folks from Kentucky, Ohio area. So it's really a regional, but also some national artists mixed in with what we're doing.
All right, fantastic. Now I know that there's some good artists that have written some songs. So a lot of this is singer songwriters. So they have a lot of their original, and then they've written for other artists. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, a couple of the guys that are coming. Sean McConnell has written for a lot of big name country artists. I don't even know if I could come up with a list. I know Tim McGraw's in there, Little Big Town, and just a bunch of others that you would know. And then the same thing with Ben Chapman and Meg McCree. They've both had songs cut by some big artists.
Yeah.
So they're really doing well in Nashville for sure. But
I love that.
in addition to writing for other artists, they're really pursuing their own careers pretty heavily.
All right, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, definitely get your tickets for Crossroads Acoustic Fest. That's happening in Jackson County. Several listening rooms available. You kind of get to decide what your night looks like. You can take advantage of food there as well as some other restaurants. So it's really just what you want it to be. But make sure you're there, and you can get your tickets again at crossroadsacousticfest.com. Hoosier Good News. We're ready for our next segment right here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. Super happy to have with us today a couple great people from Schneck Medical Center and the Schneck Foundation Board talking about a health fair. You want to make sure you get on your calendars. It's coming up April 12th. Starts at 7 a.m. You know, early bird gets the worm, gets the health. They have it all connected there for you at Schneck. And of course, we're talking with Hannah Keller. She's with the marketing department, and Emily Lang, and she's the host of the Teddy Bear Clinic. So we're going to talk all those things. Make sure you're staying connected with staying well. And as part of that, we'll get right to it because I know they have a bunch of stuff to tell you. All right. So good morning, ladies. And so excited to have you here with us today. Let's talk about some good news happening in Southern Indiana.
Yeah, so Schneck is really excited to bring the Schneckwell Community Health Fair back this year. This will be our 4th year hosting this event. This is kind of a re-envisioned version of the health fair that used to take place at the Seymour High School. So a lot of people around here remember that. They remember lining up and going through and doing the blood draws and the bone density screenings, those sorts of things. This is basically the same idea, same premise, but we're bringing that into the Schneck building. So
tell me about what time they need to be there. What do they need to bring? And do they have to worry about insurance? Let's connect all those dots.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a event for anyone and everyone in our community. That includes little kids. I'll let Emily speak on that in a minute. But yeah, basically this event is for anyone in the area that wants to drive in and see us. This will run from 7 to 11 a.m. in the Schneck Professional Building. That's at 411 West Tipton Street. And they can park in the parking garage on any level and walk right in. They do not have to have insurance. If you have insurance, some of our screenings will ask that you provide that, but you do not have to have insurance to partake in our screenings. The blood work is low cost. That's a cash-only offer, so bring your cash with you for that, and you can pre-register on the website. Our skin and breast cancer and cervical screenings and our prostate screenings are all free, so nothing required for that. Just show up and partake.
Right. And of course, you have some accommodations for even kiddos with their teddy bears. Emily, let's talk about that.
So the Teddy Bear Clinic is part of the Schneckwell Health Fair that is hosted by the Schneck Foundation. It is tailored to children ages 3 to 10. Each child that participates will get a teddy bear in the morning that they can take through different series of doctor visits with all of our different Schneck provider practices. The teddy bears will go through and get checkups. They'll learn about being healthy and taking care of their bodies and even get a little procedure done. So
I love that. So tell me about, again, what time everyone needs to be there and what they need to bring and the dates and all the good things that they need to know.
So the Teddy Bear Clinic runs right alongside the Schneckwell Health Fair. It's from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Schneck Professional Building. It is free for all kids. It is first come, first serve, so no registration is required.
All right, fantastic. Well, we are super excited to make sure you have that on your calendar for the Schneck Health Center. So if you're listening to us from anywhere in Southern Indiana, you're welcome to come. You don't have to be a current patient at Schneck to take advantage of the health fair. They just want to make sure you and your family stay well. All right, we have some upcoming events. We want to make sure that you get on your calendar. Aside from the health fair, we've got Cars and Coffee in Columbus happening from 9 to 11 at Luca B Coffee. That's happening March 29th. Hidden Voice, Jackson County United Way at 5:30. And you're going to hear local celebrities performing a selection of songs while wearing costumes to conceal their identity. That's going to be super fun. Now, I also want to remind you, Crossroads Acoustic Fest, get your tickets, crossroadsacousticfest.com. It's going to be an amazing couple evenings of artists like you've never heard before. And of course, we featured Sean Busby, but we definitely want to make sure you're staying connected to that event and making sure you're getting tickets, because you can still do that. They're still available. You can choose one or both days. You're going to want to choose both days. Perfectly fine. It's going to be great. You get to choose your listening experience. It's kind of like you get to it's like your own Mad Lib of music. You get to go where you want, fill in the blanks, whatever kind of experience you're looking for. Crossroads Acoustic Fest has it. We'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. Keep it tuned.
Hey, you found another great episode of Southern Indiana Now. We are super pumped about all our special guests today we have lined up to make sure that we're covering all the heart of living and doing life, working, having fun, all the things in Southern Indiana. You can do it here. You can find us at southern.indiana.now or all places where you can get a podcast. Of course, you're noticing a little bit different setup, so we're in the process of reinventing the wheel. As we always say, feeling the jet as you're flying it is always tricky, but we're doing it here at Southern Indiana Now. So if you have some suggestions of some guests you'd like to see, some topics you'd like us to cover, please give us an email. You can go on our website, southern.indiana.now.com. You can shoot us a message, and we'd love to hear it. We'd love to stay connected with everyone watching the show. Even if it's something completely like random, or you're thinking, I don't know if they're going to want to do this. We might. You never know. So go ahead and send us a line. We'd love to know what that is. Also, we want to make sure that you're getting connected with the Crossroads Acoustic Fest. That's a big event happening at the end of April. You can get tickets by going to crossroadsacousticfest.com. We want to make sure that you're getting connected with that. You can choose 1 or 2 day tickets, whichever makes your enjoying experience for your listening room, whatever you're looking for that. And you can get all the information at crossroadsacousticfest.com.